Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome. I'm Cal Gould, here for another interview on the history of ball hockey with an individual that has played in the sport for a number of years. He played competitively and has really enjoyed success at different levels. So let's find out who we're speaking with. What is your name and where are you from?
Hi, I'm Keith Reiter, and I'm from Edmonton, Alberta.
What are some of your early memories of playing unorganized ball hockey or street hockey in your youth?
I have two older brothers, so I kind of tagged along with them. They would start the street hockey game in the front street. We had quite a few neighbors that played, so that was probably in our younger years. And then the neighbors were getting a little bit, I don't know, perturbed, I guess. Either their vehicles were getting damaged or they had nowhere to park. So we had to move the game to the back lane and my parents' driveway. And then that probably went on for 3 or 4 years until Dad's garage got dented and the fence got knocked down from body checking. So the game had to move up the block up to the school up at the end there at Princeton, and we would play in the parking lot there. And it was quite the funny story. So my dad actually built us nets. He welded nets together and he built them and got mesh from the community league because he was a volunteer there. So we meshed up the nets, and it was interesting because he made one net and the other net was a little bit smaller. So you could fit the net inside the other one so you could carry them both together. So we hawked a Safeway shopping cart, and we threw all of the equipment in there, the goalie equipment, and slugged the nets over top and dragged this the shopping cart up the street to the school. And we had our 10 guys, and then obviously the game got bigger and more just people were showing up asking if they could play, not even people we knew. And before you knew it, there was 20 people out there playing. We'd have games, and it was funny. It was like we'd start at 2:00, and then 5:00 would come, and a couple guys had to go home for supper, so they would leave, and then at 6:00 another group would have to go home, and then they'd all rip back to play some more. And we knew it was time to come home when the street lights come on. That was kind of our time. Hey, it's time to go. Mom and Dad are lug everything up and let's go. So yeah, it was kind of that basic story of everybody else just playing on the street. And then we had communities like Dalwood and Belvedere like had their little groups. So we'd have a road trip to Dalwood and have a game over there, and then we'd have a game at Baldwin here, and then over to Dalwood. So yeah, that was a really great childhood I had playing street hockey. It was great.
What area was that in again, and what ages were you when you were doing that?
So my brothers are Rick is 5 years older, and my brother Trent's 3. And then I was probably gonna say 7, and we started up there, and we lived in Baldwin, which is kind of in the Northeast. So yeah, the Northeast is known for being a little bit tough, tougher area. So we got a little tough quicker. People were, we had those tough kids that, they weren't the greatest at street hockey, but geez, they were a little rough. So it was we learned how to play a little rougher then. So it was great.
Did you play any organized sports other than ball hockey before joining a league in ball hockey?
Yeah. So when I was young, starting out, obviously my parents put me in hockey. I was in hockey till I was 20. And then I also played baseball, soccer. I really like to golf, actually, and to this day I still golf quite a bit. So it's kind of a sport I really like. It's an individual sport. You can't blame anybody about yourself, and it's great. And probably over the years I played a game that was called broomball. So it was kind of like not like hockey, but you wore shoes and with little foam on the bottom with a little stick and a big orange ball and big nets. So my brother had played, so I kind of played that for a few years, and that was different. It was enjoyable too. So yeah, I really liked playing any kind of a sport, anything that that we could get outside and play. It was great.
Yeah, I agree with you on the sport of broomball. That develops different muscles. You will first time you play, you'll pull a groin muscle, but after that you start to develop and strengthen those muscles. So it actually makes it better for other sports, including ice hockey or ball hockey, to improve your skills. Now let's ask you this question. How did you join the ball hockey league that you first played in? And what I mean by that is, did you join with a team? Did you get invited? Did you get to a newspaper ad, or did your brothers invite you or something like that? How exactly?
So again, I have a brother that's older, obviously, Rick, and him and my his friends were playing broom ball, had a ball hockey team. So I was 17 at the time, and he's like, "Why don't you come out to Tipton Arena?" I remember, and I'm sitting in the stands watching them play. And I said, "Holy man, this is great. Like, I want to play this game," right? But I was only 17. So I was 16 at the time. So the next following year, my brother Trent didn't play. So Rick put my name under him. So I played 1 year under my brother Trent's name just so I could play in the league. And so yeah, my brother Rick and his friends that's where I kind of started out. I was the younger guy, and they were older. And yeah, it's kind of by luck that I got asked out to play. So it was a great time.
What was the name of the team that you joined, and do you remember how long you played with them?
They were called the Sewer Rats, I believe. I believe they were the Sewer Rats. We only played 1 year. Like, they only played 1 year, and then I had a couple other friends that wanted to play, and we were quite good, and so we decided to make it our own team. So the broomball guys kind of got thrown to the side, and they were older, so they just moved on to they were in 4th or 5th division. So we decided to put a team in, and that's where the UK Nats started, Ukrainian Nationals started. We started that team in 1988, I believe. And it was just, again, bunch of buddies together, and just, we had a few really good skilled players, and then we just had a bunch of guys that just wanted to play, right? And they're your friends, so you're not gonna not let them play, right? So we put a team together, and yeah, from there on it was history. We just kept going and moving forward, and yeah, that's kind of how it started.
What kind of successes did you have with that UK Nationals? Was it did you make it to a league championship or any other tournaments?
So with the UK Nats, it's quite interesting. We started out we played for the Edmonton League, not the Cap City League, and we actually had a really early success. We won the city championship in I'm going to say 89, or maybe no, it was 90. So we won in 90, and then we got to go to provincials. And again, we just had a bunch of guys that we went up to Medicine Hat, and just, we're going to have a great old time. And then we landed up winning. We won provincials that year. So it was very unexpected. And it was great, because it was still with our buddies, right? We did have a few pickups, and they definitely helped out. But yeah, it was a great experience. It was funny. We were kind of a little bit, I was in general, a kind of a lippy player. Like, if I was me today, I would probably get, the crap beat out of me because of my big mouth, right? So we were big mouths, and we went with the UK, we got UK Nats in our hair cut, and our numbers cut in our hair. We were gung-ho. We put UK Nats on my buddy's car, and we drove, and it was quite interesting. It wasn't funny, but the game before the finals, somebody broke into his car and stole all our sticks. So we had no sticks for the finals. So it was on a Sunday, and we actually had to get one of the sports stores to open up their doors that day, and they weren't open, and we had to buy brand new sticks. And to this day, I think it was because of our big mouths. We were big mouth, and we had UK Nats on the car, and that's where the sticks went.
That's a rather unique story. I haven't heard one like that yet. So let me ask you, do you have any photographs of you with a championship trophy? I see something on the wall there. Is that a picture of you with your brothers?
Yeah, that there is my brothers and me, and my mom was. My parents were there, and my mom. We had a party here for after we got back, and we had the 2 trophies, the cities, the provincial trophy, tier 2 trophy, and she wanted a picture with her boys. So we all have the mustaches that we all wish we didn't have back then. So but yeah, it's a great keepsake. It's been on the wall since 1990. So she asked us, my parents are getting older now, so they're kind of saying, who wants what, and anybody want that picture? And nobody's actually fessed up to want to put, my brother's wives won't let that go on the wall. So I don't know where that's going to land up. I'll probably land up taking it.
Well, I wouldn't mind having a copy of that for keepsake, of course, to put into the archives. Now, my next question is, what other teams did you play with or get involved with? Did you always stay with the Ukrainian Nationals, or did you join other teams?
So when we had the UK Nats, we played I'm going to say, so we won the provincials that year, and the rule was in the league, you had to move up to first division after that. And so, you know, we're a bunch of young kids that think we're the best team ever. And then we moved up to first division, and then reality stuck in. You're playing the Playboys and the Nordiques, and the scores, Mercy score after the first half, and they're only playing half hard. And the difference between Division 1 and Division 2, I didn't realize back then, was such a big gap. Like 2 and 3, yeah, that 1 and 2, man, it was totally different. So we played there for a year, and then we realized that this is probably just a waste of time for us. So what we did is we split our team up. So me and my brother went to play for CFB Edmonton. So it was funny. We were the only two with longer hair. Everybody in the military had shaved their hair. So people were asking, who are these guys? Like, are they even in the military? And the guy that was, oh yeah, they're from the military. So me and my brother played there, and a couple other guys played all just so we could keep playing. And then the following year, we actually put the UK Nets back again. So we started, and we got back into second division again. And we made some changes. We had a couple guys that retired, and we made some changes. And we went to the provincial final again, and we lost. We lost to, I believe it was Mike Symes' team. They were really good. I think they were called the Wild Beavers. They beat us in the provincials. And then we had Western qualifier, I think, here. And we lost to the Jesters 2-1 in overtime. And I'll never forget, I missed an open net. I still look back and kind of just cringe at that, because in overtime I missed the net. So it was my fault. I guess we lost. So and then from there we played with the UK Nats for a bit. And then I got to the point where it was a hard choice for me. I had to either stay with my buddies and stay with the UK Nats, or I wanted to go to first division. I wanted to play nationals and just get a little further, right? So I talked to the team, and they understood, and I moved, and then I was asked to play for the Playboys. So I played for the Playboys, and for I don't know how many years, and just an amazing experience. Like just so many quality players there that you know what, made me better, like just made me better, because they were so good. And then we played for them for a while, and we won a provincials with them. I remember we played in Grand Trunk against, I'm gonna say, the West Stars, and it was I don't know if it was the finals or I think it was the semifinals, and we went into like 4 overtimes. It was crazy. So we had guys on the bench, like, you'd wear the shin pads and the elbow pads. They were just layering off because you were cramping up so much that you had to start taking stuff down. And there was a couple of guys on the other team had to leave because they had to go to work. So the game went so long that they had to leave. So it was quite interesting. And then old Malcolm Stinson scored. So it was it was one of the best games I've been involved. So it was it was great to be with that group. And then from there, there was that whole lawsuit with Playboy. And then we had to change our names to the Edmonton Boys. And then we played with them for a while. And then from there, I kind of jumped around a bit. I believe I played for the Snipers for just a little bit. They were so good that there was really no spot for me there. There was just so many quality players. And then from there, Ian Polson made the Rock. And then that was a great experience, because back then the Snipers were so good. Like, I think they won 7 provincials in a row, and we couldn't beat them. We just couldn't beat them. And then on the 7th, the final, I think it was the 7th or 8th one, we actually beat them. We beat them. And I believe that after that, they disbanded. They kind of finished. And I think at that time, I believe that in first division, that was my last game. I quit after that and moved, because I couldn't stay with these guys anymore. My body just couldn't do it. So yeah, those are kind of the teams I played for.
Now, I recall you played in at least one national championship with the Playboys in 1997. How was your experience at that one? And did you go any other nationals?
My first nationals were with the Playboys. We went to Newfoundland, and we were all still I was still pretty young, and there was nights I went out, which I shouldn't probably have, but it was Newfoundland, right? So we played there, and the teams are so good. Like, you think the city teams are good. Now you go to the nationals, they're twice as good, right? So we played in Newfoundland. I have a funny story. So we were playing the Newfoundland team, and Dino Machete come to the bench, and he's like, one of the Newfies bit me. So on his calf, the Newfie was on the ground, and they were in a scrum, and he actually bit him on the calf. You could see the teeth marks. So that was quite the funny story there. And then I also went to Montreal with, I believe it was the Playboys again. And then I went to Toronto, and then my last nationals was in Calgary. And I think the closest we got was a bronze. And, there was the red light, which was so good that, again, I think they won 7 West nationals in a row. So we played them actually in a round robin game and beat them. So it was quite impressive that we beat them there. But I don't know, you play that team 9 times, you're going to lose 8 of them. So yeah, that was kind of my national experience. And again, it was just playing at the quality of the teams. It was full out every game, and you left the game and you were sore, and it was great. It was a great experience. I loved it.
In comparison to other organized sports that you played, or maybe are still playing, what was your impression of the league or the leagues and tournaments that you played in ball hockey?
I've played hockey, in juniors, been to a lot of tournaments. Ball hockey by far is the most organized sport I have ever played in my life. I couldn't believe how organized they were. When in the cities, to provincials, to Westerns when they held it, to nationals when they held it, there was so many good people involved in ball hockey. It is unbelievable how well this was run. In Edmonton ball hockey, it was started with Mark Lafergie was our president, and he was great, good guy to deal with. And then we had Garrett Kroll. He was in there. And then before we went and combined the leagues, Jamie Wilson was our president. Every one of those guys did it right. They did it for the right reasons. They didn't do it for, publicity, money or anything. They did it for the love of the game. And I give them a ton of credit. And going further, when we put the leagues together, Steve Posovic and Jeff Romaine, those guys are icons in ball hockey in my eyes. If it wasn't for those gentlemen, all 5 of those gentlemen, this league would not be where it is. I'll tell you right now, they started this and they did it right. And they should be very proud of themselves. They put so much time. They were there all the time. Steve was at the table, and his wife at the time, she was there, and everybody was there on their own time. And going a little further, when we went to provincials, I don't know if they were on the committee, but whoever was on that committee, back in the day when I was with the Playboys, when we went to Medicine Hat and all the other provincials, they actually had banquets. Like they would have awards night banquets. We'd have a meal. We'd have a bar. There would be silent auction table, and it was top notch. I wish it was still like that, but I don't think they do any of that, because that probably was a nightmare trying to get all that together. But you get the right people in the right room and they can make things happen. And whoever was part of that, good for you, because it made an experience like you were a professional. And they did it well. And one time in Edmonton, we had like a skills competition. Like every team had a skills thing, and it was as hard as slap shot or through the cones and penalty shots, and it was great. Like they did a fabulous job. I can't say enough. And we were lucky. We just got to play. They did all the labor work for us.
Were you involved in the sport in any other way? By that, I mean, were you a referee, a coach, a manager, volunteer, anything like that?
So in the men's league, I didn't do any coach. We didn't have really a coach. It was just kind of my brother organized it. We all kind of just played. And then I wish I would have got involved a little bit more in the executive side of it, like helping out a little bit more. But then I had my kids and it was hard. So when my son was 7 and my brother's kid, I think, was 6, we started to coach in the junior league. And that there is just a totally another experience in my life that was amazing. So we had a team, and we would, we in the small little, and again, these little kids, they would come out, and this is how good it was run. So when we were done, every kid got a juice box and a cookie or something to, after the game was over, the league would put it on and pay for all that. Like, they just did a fabulous, like, the marketing and whoever was behind this was amazing, because my kid pretty much wanted just the cookie and the drink after, right? He thought that was the best thing ever. So so we started to do that, and then we got to the point where my brother, his son was a year older, and my son was his son was a year younger, mine was a year older. So we kind of decided to split off. Like, I would make a team of my own, and he would make his team with his son's kids. And I actually made a team, and it took me probably, I'm going to say 5 years or 4 years to actually make the team I wanted. So what I did is we would just have our regular kids, and then I would watch other teams play. And then after the game, I'm like, hey, next year, you want to play for us? So I was grabbing all the better kids are off these teams, right? So I was kind of scooping, and then I kind of made a super team. So so going into that, we got a team, and we had a couple kids that played AAA Bantam. So we had one kid or two kids on the team. All of a sudden, we had, 3/4 of our team are Bantam AAA ball hockey players now, right? So they were the top skill. So we were kind of pushing for winning a Western Championship, right? So we sent a team out to BC, and we won a Western Championship. So then we decided that, we want to make another team, and we want to go to nationals and compete at junior nationals. So we had a team, and we were in Kitchener, Ontario in 2000. Let me check here. 2017. I got a tattoo. I promised the boys if they want to get a tattoo, not thinking they'd win, and hence today I got a tattoo of the Edmonton Express ball hockey team that I coached. So that's a good memory I have. And we won that game in a shootout. We had to go to a shootout to win that game. So it was, like I said, when I played, I was never really a nervous player, but as a coach, I was just so nervous when that game was on, and we won a national championship. So that was great. And I think that was just kind of the way I went. I went from playing, took a little bit of my experience, and went into the junior league, and then kind of took it from there. So yeah, that's kind of how I went. And I really love coaching. It was a great experience.
Do you have any favorite memories of the sport of ball hockey? And what I mean by that is, do you have a personal memory that you'd like to share, and anything that maybe is a collective memory with you and your brothers, or the teams that you played on?
So my first memory is obviously when we won this first city championship, and then we won provincials. And then when I moved to Division One, winning a provincials I actually won a provincials with the Longhorns. I was a pickup in Division Two one year. And then I won a provincials with the Playboys the year Malcolm scored. And then I won a provincials with Edmonton Rock. So that was probably the best personal stuff that I have. My biggest accomplishment, I think, and it's kind of it's not really my thing as per se, it's more of a team thing, is I wanted to win a city championship, a provincial championship, a Western championship, and a national championship, and a world championship. Not that I played in it. I played in it only in a provincial and a city, but the Westerns with the juniors, and the nationals with the juniors, and the Team Canada under 16. So I've won at every level, and that's my biggest accomplishment, and I'm so proud of that. Like there's not really anything more that I can win, right? So that's probably my biggest memory and thing that I appreciate.
Are you still involved in the sport of ball hockey?
Not at the men's league, I'm not, and not so much at the junior Edmonton league, but for some reason, one of the gentlemen that I went to assistant coach for Team Canada in 2018 in Czechoslovakia or Czech Republic, I was assistant coach. I was picked, and I have to thank Tyrell Spitzer for that. No, Tyrell and Norm, his dad, they were instrumental in getting some of these coaches and teams and players involved in more at the national level. Like they pushed for it, and they got it. They got some coaches in there, they got some players in there, and Norm Spitzer, man, he was the one that really pushed that. And if it wasn't for him, I don't know if I would have had that experience. And so anyway, so during COVID, there was supposed to be one in Switzerland, which I was really looking forward to, but COVID canceled it. We were supposed to go to Slovakia. Then following year, it got canceled because of COVID. And then this year, I was asked again to go to Czech Republic to be assistant coach for the under-20s. So yeah, I am involved, just maybe at the national level. And I think this will be my last year there. I'd love to go more, but I think it's important that other people get to go. I think it's important that guys that put the time in that I did, and I'm 52 now, and there's guys that the game's changed, and I don't know if I've changed so much with it. So we need a different perspective of how things move forward. And I had my time, and I think it's somebody else's turn.
What do you feel has made the greatest impact on the growth of the sport of ball hockey?
My like I've said, and I've preached this, is the volunteers. That has made the biggest impact on this. If you don't have those refs, you don't have the London family in there working with it, and you don't have the Steve Posovics and the Mark Lafergis and those guys in there, we would not be where we are right now. I swear, anybody. That's why I love you're doing this, because people need to know that ball hockey just didn't come about. It was a bunch of people had great ideas and a lot of time to make this game what it is today. And the people that are running it, the groundwork has been set for you. I'm glad you're still running with it, but those individuals made the game what it is today.
I wholeheartedly agree with you. What advice would you give to someone that wants to play the sport of ball hockey?
What I told people is, it's probably the greatest sport. I looked at it like this. It was street hockey with boards. We didn't have to chase a ball. You don't have to chase the ball down the road. You have refs, you're on concrete with a ball, and it's like playing street hockey with boards. And you have to be in shape. But again, there's divisions. I think the league at one time, and I don't know if they're still there, but we're at 12 divisions. So there's a team and a spot for everybody. Any weight, any nationality, whatever you are, you can play ball hockey. And it's the greatest sport. You'll meet the best people, and to this day, my best friends have come from ball hockey. That's far now. My buddy Dean Uhar, he was my best man, and I was in his wedding party. And we still are friends, and we met through ball hockey. And the Ian Polsons and Danny Slupeks and the Museys and the Kid and the Gullickson brothers, like Stinson, what's his name, the big defenseman from the Nordiques, Rick McGee. Like, I was lucky. I came in that era when those guys were almost at the end of their playing days, and then I was at the beginning of mine. So I got to play with that group, and then I moved in with that Snipers group with that quality players. And then near the end, I got to play. It was quite interesting because Bruce Ennis played on my team with the Playboys, and my last year when I played with Wes, we put a team in Division 2 with Wes McLean and Pete Small, and they brought out Tyler Ennis, his son. So I got to play with both Ennises, right? And sorry, Bruce, but Tyler is an amazing ball hockey player, and it was an honor playing with him. Like, he was so good, and that's when I knew it was time that, what, this game has passed me by, and let the younger group come in and take it over. So, yeah, those are my best experiences. Is actually from the people I've met. It was just great people.
Is there a person, I think I know the answer to the question, but maybe it's different. Is there a person that, if they were here right now, that you would want to thank for getting you involved in the sport of ball hockey?
Yeah, obviously, we talked about it. It's my brother, Rick. He got me in there and took me under his wing, and kind of, it's funny. Rick's older than I am, and he's coached me in baseball, and we play ball hockey together. We actually own a business together. So he's kind of took me under his wing and kind of brought me into everything that he was involved with. And, I thank him for everything he's done for me. So yeah, my brother Rick, and his buddies. Those are the ones.
Now, you know this already, how far the sport of ball hockey has gone on an international level, but for the viewers, I want to just try to describe it. Ball hockey has grown internationally to various countries in Europe and other continents, and at different levels. There's men's, women's, under 17, under 15, etc. And there's even a master's level, which is the level for the players that are more aged. Knowing that the sport has grown to such a high degree of competition and in a global sense, what do you hope to see for the sport of ball hockey?
What I hope to see from the sport of ball hockey is just growth, keeping the growth, right? Edmonton does a great job with their junior program. Like there's 100 teams, I believe, at one time we had here. So it's a feeder to that. We I think our junior program links up with as Ontario, which is crazy because look at the population there. But I think it's the junior program that will make the feeder into that. So they got to start here and work their way here and keep the players here. The problem they're having nowadays is the really good players that play hockey. They get a certain point and then they can't play anymore. They're just really focusing on their hockey and they don't want to get hurt, obviously. And so the ultimate goal, and I don't know if we'll ever get there, but I'd love to see it in the Olympics. I really would. I would get on a plane. I don't care where it was. I'd go watch ball hockey. I wouldn't care about any of the other sports. I would go there to do that. I don't know if we'll ever get there. I think unfortunately, there needs to be some kind of funding. Has to happen. And I believe Canada's there, Czechs are there, Slovaks are there. But like even you look at the World Junior Hockey, we have Sweden and Finland. They don't come to the Worlds, right? In the junior program. Maybe they do at the men's level, but they're not there. So you don't have those kind of countries there. You have to have a broader group of countries there to make an Olympic sport. But damn, if they would watch this sport, I think they would fall in love and somebody would fight for it. But I don't know if we're going to get there.
Is there anything that you would like to add, or if there's a question I never asked, is there anything you'd like to share?
Yeah, there's one individual I haven't mentioned, and is probably the biggest, the most not sought after, but known for the sport. If you put a name to this sport, I think it's got to be Doug McCarthy. It really does. Like Doug is like the salt of the earth guy. Like I remember back in the day, I started out being that multi kid, and I remember he was their best player, and I was Dougie this, Doug that, Doug this. I remember Mitch Schaffler. He was a big man, and I remember he grabbed me by the throat and he said, "That's enough." And that was the last time I chirped Doug McCarthy ever, because I knew that was not a good idea. But Doug has you play him on the floor and he's competitive, but you know what? He's fair. And he plays by the rules, and he's not dirty. He's a total ambassador for the game. And he was probably the biggest influence that I had moving forward to try to emulate. I wish I would emulated playing the way he did, being classy and off the floor. And, you'd see him off the floor. He'd be like, "Hey, Keith, how's it going? Good. And this, and how's this, and how's that?" Like, just a really good guy. Like, I think everybody you talk to, that name always comes up. He's such a good guy.
Yes, I agree with you. He has been a major influence on a number of players.
Okay, I just got one more thing. Cal, what you're doing here is absolutely fabulous. I don't know how many videos you've done, but from the first one I watched everyone since. When you asked me, "Have you seen it?" I've seen every one of your videos, and I love the perspective of different, like there was guys' names bringing up, and I forgot about that guy and this guy and that guy, and different experiences from different people. Putting this together, I've talked to some people, and they're like, this is something that needed to be done, and I'm glad you took it on. I mean, it's probably takes a lot of your time to do this. So for me and all the other players in the league, as much as those other guys started the league and built the league, you're taking it to the next level. So thank you for that.
Well, thank you. I can't do it without everyone contributing their time. Thank you, Keith.
You're welcome. Take care.